Let's get it on. The major playoff is upon us. We have the 8 teams qualified for the playoff, and we're about to find out who's going to win the Perfect World Shanghai Major 2024. Luckily for you guys, luckily for me, we survived the second stage. We got the 5 pick'ems that we needed, and we're now heading into the playoff bracket. Now, before I forget it, don't forget that given that we kind of messed up the very first iteration of all this, I am still giving away this knife you can see right here. A Felcher knife, a factory new Fate, $350. All you have to do is head over to Twitter. I'll link below, and you guys can guess who you think will win the major, and then you're participating. We'll draw the winner of the night of the major final. However, let's get into what we're here for. The predictions for the playoff. 4 quarterfinals, 2 semifinals, and 1 grand final. Now, the first quarterfinal, quite simple. The Mongols versus Mouse. Arguably the biggest surprise of the tournament so far in the Mongols, who are yet to lose a game. They have looked so solid from start to finish, and now they're heading into the quarterfinal against a team like Mouse, who's been a little bit more shaky. Not necessarily bad, not necessarily good, but it's a quality matchup. They have some internal history, and to be fair, the Mongols have been at a level where you'd have Mouse as the favorites in most of the tournaments throughout the year. But I think, as I said in the other video, the Mongols was the only team that I saw close the gap to the tier 1 echelon of Counter-Strike, and I think they've done that. So, heading into this game, had you asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said Mouse any given day. However, today, I think the Mongols have a real shot at making it into a semi-final at the major. I'm not gonna lie, I think the Mongols could take down Mouse. Now, a lot of people will put the Mongols in right here and be like, nah, Mouse is not gonna win. I'm actually I'm very tempted to put in Mouse. I still think it's a quality team. I still think it's a team that relies a lot on teamwork. And one of the strengths so far of the Mongols have been that individual firepower. Has that been, you know, the possessiveness of them playing Counter-Strike, having 4 players, actually 5 players, all firing up. And obviously when you have that, it's tough for any team out there. But if there is a team out there who could neutralize some of that individual firepower and neutralize some of that individual skill and some of that, I wouldn't say carelessness that the Mongols are coming in with, but they're just playing unimpressed. They're just playing like, who cares? We're going to win this game. I think Mouse will be one of those teams who could potentially make it tough for the Mongols in that regard. So I don't know what you think. I think most people would probably pick, and I'll be honest right here, most people would probably pick the Mongols in that matchup, but for my money, it's a close one. They've played once this year. That was a win for the Mongols. Overtime game, Mirage, a best of 1. At this major. So in a best of 3, I feel like the Mongols fans are gonna hate me if I don't put him, but I honestly believe in Mouse. I have to say it. I think as much as I've been impressed with the Mongols, I think Mouse could neutralize the Mongols, and I think Mouse could prepare themselves into a way where they're gonna beat the Mongols. I don't think the Mongols can hide. I also think that the playbook of Mouse is deeper, so if plan A is not working for the Mongols, their plan B is not as strong as the plan B of Mouse, and you're coming into a matchup now where both teams have had 3 days to prepare for each other. So I'm going to go with Mouse, but it's a tough one. Second quarterfinal, Team Spirit versus Team Liquid. I'm not going to lie, Team Spirit have been very shaky so far. They came alive at the major when they beat Na'Vi 13-2, and obviously we've seen what Dunk have been able to do as well. He's been killing it, you know, absolutely killing it. And I think the best of 3 win against Heroic, that's when I noticed, and that's when I saw that, okay, Spirit came here to play, because Heroic have played great so far. So Spirit, are they at the peak level yet? Nope. But are they trending upwards? I'd say yes, and now they have 3 more days to prepare. It could be a Team Spirit that is coming in hot to the playoff. And I will say, I think out of all these teams right here, I think Team Liquid is the weakest one. When you look at the way of them qualifying into this quarterfinal, they've had the easiest route. I'm not going to take anything away from Liquid, because you can only beat who's in front of you, but they've had the, I would even say by far the easiest way heading into the quarterfinal right here. I have Team Spirit winning this one. Could be close. You know, Team Liquid is not a bad team, but I feel relatively comfortable in Team Spirit taking the W right here. Now, G2 Heroic, again, an obvious pick would be G2 are the favorites, but Heroic have played so well. Heroic have played so well throughout the major, but I think we have seen the limitations of Heroic as well. It is a team that when they're hitting their stride, they can play up to par with the tier 1 level of Counter-Strike, and I kind of said that by picking them in my former picking video. A lot of people probably doubted Heroic would be here, but I didn't, you know, it came close, but them beating Na'Vi in a best of 3 and them coming close to beating Spirit and them being just overall playing well, I think Heroic is a team you have to respect. However, G2 in a playoff and G2 in a group stage is two different things. Monacy on a stage is killing it. NiKo now eyeing the opportunity to win a major for the first time ever. As I said, coming into this playoff bracket, it's open. Any team, apart from, I'd even argue, any team apart from Liquid can win this major. I see 7 teams who have a realistic shot at thinking we can win this. G2's got to beat Heroic, and the reason is Monacy, the reason is NiKo, the reason is Hunter, the reason is G2 have that aura playing on a stage. For some reason, they step it up. Whenever they're facing elimination, whenever they're facing a big stage, whenever they're inside a big arena, they seem to maintain their level where everyone else is just dropping slightly below. So G2 will beat Heroic, but make no mistake, Heroic have had a fine major so far. Now, Vitality versus FaZe Clan, that's a matchup that we've seen so many times in CS2 already, and it's a golden one. Saivu fighting to be the best player in the world, going up against Kerrigan, going up against Brokey, going up against Robs as well for that matter. FaZe have looked slightly better, I'd say, at this major. They played well. They played better than I anticipated, better than I expected. I was a little bit afraid that FaZe could crumble at this major, given their form coming into it and everything, but they look well. So has Vitality, though. You know, yet to lose a game. Saivu firing on all cylinders. I think Apex is motivated. Messi is the player I want to point out. You may not know it, but Messi, the past 2 tournaments, ever since becoming a dad, has been playing at an average rating of 1.2 as a support player, as an anchor, as a player that is not in those scenarios. So if Messi can maintain that level and close the gap to Saivu and close the gap to Spinks and Flamesy, Vitality is a team to be rooting for right here. I think Vitality will beat FaZe, but make no mistake, FaZe in a playoff at a major, it can be incredible close. And that's what I love about this bracket. It's gonna be incredible close. That gives us these 2 semifinals. Mouse versus Spirit. Still debating with myself if I should put the Mongols in here. Spirit the Mongols. That'd be such a cool game to watch again. I think it's gonna be Mouse. They have more stage experience now. They've been there a couple of times. They matured. Spirit versus Mouse semifinal. As I said, Dunk right now also fighting for the title to be the best player in the world. I think Spirit is trending upwards, and I think Mouse have been stabilizing. They've been stagnating. A Spirit trending upwards is a Spirit I believe in more than I probably believe in a Mouse team stagnating. And I think if the Mongols versus Mouse is a 50-50 game, so is Mouse versus Team Spirit. I'm not gonna lie, that's gonna be incredible close as well, if that's the semifinal we're getting gifted right here. For some reason, though, I feel like Dunk is poised right now and he's possessed. He wants the title as the best player in the world. And by winning the major, or by getting into a major grand final, he could cement himself as the best player of 2024. Shiro looking somewhat good as well. I think, as I said, I think Spirit is trending upwards. It's a hunch. It's a gut feeling. It's not necessarily based in me feeling comfortable in the specific matchup versus Mouse as well. As I said, they look good. Mouse is not a bad team, and with Exertion, Torsi, I feel like especially Torsi at the playoffs have been doing so well for Mouse. Shuhei, an in-game leader you cannot underestimate. Chopper have been struggling a little bit for Spirit, but again, seemingly at this major, trending upwards. So I'm going to lean towards Team Spirit. I'm going to lean towards Team Spirit being in that grand final at the major. Again, 50-50. And let's be honest, it's a major semi-final. If that game is not close, then what is? Same goes on for the Mongols Mouse. Same goes on for all the games. I feel like the most comfortable pick I have right here is actually Team Spirit versus Liquid. And that's not because I think Spirit is the best team out here. That's because I think Team Liquid is yet to be faced against a tier 1 team, you know, a proper tier 1 team. And I don't think they have it. G2 versus Vitality in a semi-final. You get to see Saivu versus Monacy again. The 2 players together with Dunk fighting to be the best player in the world of 2024. Another matchup between G2 and Vitality. And I gotta say, G2 had the upper hand right here. G2 have been beating Vitality in a couple of these quarterfinals, in a couple of these semifinals. And I don't know what it is, but I think Apex is a better in-game leader than Snacks. I think Vitality perhaps is a better team than G2. But I think G2 is a better playoff team. And I think G2 have the better individuals than Vitality. I think the combination of NiKo and Monacy as individuals, spiced up with a bit of mobs, is a better trio than the one of Saivu, Spinks, and Flamesy. And that speaks volume, because that's a mega trio as well. I also think G2 is a better playoff team than Vitality. I don't know what it is with Vitality, but I've seen it throughout the year that they get into the quarterfinal, they get into the semifinal, then they crumble, then they fall apart, then they don't have that, I guess, killer instinct to close out the games. So I'm going to lean with G2. I think it's going to be a G2 Spirit grand final. And we saw G2 Spirit play a grand final play a game in not so long ago in Singapore. And I think, heading into that conversation, I'm going to say it out here, and I'm going to predict it right here, a little bit spicy. I actually headed into this playoff. I had Vitality as a bit of a favorite, but given how the bracket turned out and how we look at this, I think G2 will beat Vitality in that game. And I think in a grand final, where NiKo can finally win a major, where m0NESY can cement himself as the best player in the world, going up against Team Spirit, who, yes, are trending upwards, but who's not at their peak, I have G2 winning the major. And I know that's a mega story, especially when you consider NiKo is leaving G2. It's going to be his final game for G2. Any given game can be the final game for NiKo at G2. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. The only thing that could screw this is the Mongols beating Mouse, because I think the Mongols could beat Team Spirit, and then it could look like this. I still think G2 would beat the Mongols in a best of 3 in a grand final, but I don't think the Mongols is going to get there. So this is what it's looked like for me. Spirit beat Liquid, Spirit beat Mouse. I don't know. Spirit, boom. G2 will beat him. G2 will win the major. Save all pick'ems. This is what it looks like. This is what I think the playoff will turn out to be. I will admit, though, you guys are in your fine rights to make your own predictions, your own pick'ems. If you have any other team making the final or semi-final, I don't blame you. I could be convinced to pick anyone else apart from Team Liquid. You could make a case for me where you go, it's not gonna be Mouse, it's gonna be the Mongols, and I'll be like, yeah, you're probably right. It's not gonna be Vitality, it's gonna be FaZe. Well, you could be right. So in that regard, I think the only one I feel comfortable in is Spirit versus Liquid, which probably will turn out to be the one game Liquid wins, and then the rest are wrong. Who knows? But this is it for me. My final pick'ems. I hope you guys get the gold coin. I hope you guys are still in the contention for the diamond coin. I know that around less than 25 or 20% are, but best of luck with it. This is my analysis. This is my take on it. It's a suggestion. You don't have to follow it, but if you want to, you can. Just don't forget that I have 2 diamonds, 3 golds, and I haven't had a silver coin in quite some time, so hopefully I won't hear either. Don't forget to subscribe, by the way. And let me know in the comments below if you think I'm crazy. Please.